Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to post a video which you should have posted yesterday, but actually I was so tired after doing a 14-hour session that I went to bed. So I'm going to do it today. I'm just going to pay tribute to John Lennon. Yesterday was his birthday, October the 9th. And John Lennon, actually his full name was John Winston Lennon. So that was kind of cool that not only he gave his wife, which is traditional in this country, your last name, he also took her last name. So basically, video was just to pay tribute to John Lennon, one of the founding members of the Beatles. John Lennon was a very, to me, fascinating character or person. And what I realized as I got older, as far as why the Beatles were so special, at least to me, those guys started writing those type of great songs when they were teenagers. You know, not 30, 40-year-old seasoned musicians. These guys were teenagers when they was writing all those great hits. And what's so interesting about their start in songwriting that most people don't know, because my all-time favorite British act was, now the Beatles were a close first, or close second, close second. It was Freddie and the Dreamers. I just love the sound of Freddie Garrity's voice, and they were great musicians, and they wrote a lot of great songs, or performed or recorded a lot of great songs. Now, this is where the Beatles and Freddie and the Dreamers kind of connect. It was customary in the 60s for 5 or 6 groups to cut a record on the same song. You know, now they don't do that anymore, but back then that was common practice that 5 acts would do the same version of this one song. And the Beatles were in the process of doing one of these songs that somebody else covered, and they got wind of Freddie and the Dreamers version. And they said, man, I don't think we can top this. So John Lennon at that point said, you know what, from this point on, we need to start writing our own songs. And the rest was history. As a result of the competition between the Beatles and Freddie and the Dreamers, which is, again, my all-time favorite British band, that's where all the genius in songwriting stemmed from, or got inspired from, that they felt they couldn't compete with this cover that Freddie and the Dreamers did. It's so unfortunate to me how some people die. Now, I can count on one hand the celebrities that passed away that actually literally shed their tears. I mean, I actually cried. The very first one was, and he wasn't a musician, but it was, well, not in this order, but Harold Washington, the late Harold Washington, that was the mayor of Chicago in the 70s. I never forget it. My mother called me downstairs because I was half asleep, because I used to work nights at that time. And when I heard the tone of her voice, I knew something was wrong. So I got my ass about that bed and ran down them stairs. We sit there and watch TV. And we cried. It's like, damn. You know, we finally felt good about having somebody in office that's going to represent not just black people, but everybody. They died. They left too soon. The second one was Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of my all-time favorite guitar players. I remember the first time I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, I was in the car, and I pulled over. I said, man, who's this guy playing? Because I think most musicians can relate to what I'm about to say. You have it in your head, but sometimes you can't get it out through your fingers. You know, you hear it, but you just can't get it out there. I think Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of those few people that could do that. You know, it's like everything I heard from him play, it was coming from the heart, and it was just flowing, you know. And then the fact of all those years he had been struggling with, you know, drug addiction, and he finally got that monkey off his back. And it seemed like from that point on, he was going to have a pretty, you know, healthy, happy life. Then he left out of a gig coming out of Chicago, I believe, and died in a plane crash. That was so upsetting me, because I was like, man, he finally got rid of that, and he can just focus on being the genius that he is on his guitar. And, you know, he left too soon. So I was quite upset when it happened. And then when John Lennon died, it was almost like a carbon copy scenario of when Harold Washington died, because again, I was upstairs sleeping, and actually this time my brother called me downstairs, and I ran downstairs and was sitting there watching the TV, and we cried, because we didn't just lose a musician that day. We lost a humanitarian. We lost a guy that had vision for everybody, because most musicians or wealthy people, they can just turn their back on the rest of the world and just enjoy their fucking money. And that's what some of them do. But John Lennon was not like that. He said, I want to help everybody. You know, if there's a way that I can help and contribute, I'm there. And it's so unfortunate the way that he died, because he got cheated too. It's like some crazy mother decided to just kill a very important man. I mean, everybody's life is important. But it just was so sad how John Lennon left here, you know, because he was not one of those ivory tower musicians that you can't be near him. You know, he died signing an autograph for a supposedly fan, you know, and it's just so unfortunate that he left that way. And what I found out when I did a little research on Lennon, you know, when I was, you know, years ago, that the FBI had opened a file on him. It's like, huh? He's not a racketeer. He's not a drug cartel dude. He's just a musician with a vision to try to make the world a better place. So why in the hell would you open a file on him? And here's my theory on this, and this is strictly Morris Man theory. In society or government, there's an era where they don't want certain things to be right because they benefit from it. That's just like crime. You know, they want crime to, you know, go down a little bit just to keep the citizens off their back as far as you're not doing your job. The streets are not safe. But they still want enough crime where they can house people in prisons, because prisons are privately owned, if I'm not mistaken, meaning that people own prisons. So they make money off their businesses regardless of what business it is. So they definitely don't want it to totally go away, because a lot of people lose millions and billions of dollars, you know. But it's so unfortunate that greed overrides humanity. You know, it's like same thing with the medical industry. There are certain cures for certain diseases right now at this particular moment that governments do not want to get out there, because the average cancer patient is worth, I think, $350,000 to their doctor. So if they're not sick and don't have this dreaded disease, the doctors don't make that kind of money. You know, think about that. You know, it's so unfortunate. Again, greed overrides humane. You know, but I'm going to leave you with that. But again, I just wanted to post this video just to pay tribute to John Lennon. Yesterday was his birthday. I didn't get a chance to post this video yesterday, so I decided I was going to do it today, because I was going to do it, just that I thought I was going to be able to do it yesterday, but I wasn't able to. But I just felt it was just due to do that, because we lost a great man, great musician, great humanitarian on the day that crazy dude decided to shoot John Lennon. Till next time, take care, and thanks for watching.